Hi, my name is Young D. If you're new to the channel, thank you for clicking on this video. I hope you do enjoy, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss a banger video like this one. Without further ado, let's get straight to it. Ladies and gentlemen, I ain't gonna lie, I know I'm a little bit late to the party, and what I mean by that, I mean as I beat this game about 3, 4, 5 days ago. I don't know the exact date, but I beat this game, and like I want to do for every game I play that I actually beaten, at least hopefully beaten in the future, I like to do a full game review. So since I know this game, Assassin's Creed Shadows, end up getting a lot of flat, mostly because some of it, people call it woke with them adding a black character in Japan, but uh, I'm not here to discuss any of the wokeness. I'm gonna leave that out of my review. I don't really care about it. As long as the game is good itself, that's all really it should matter. Assassin's Creed Shadows, my first impressions on it when I first played it, it was it was okay. It was kind of good, and then some parts I did kind of get like a little bit bored, if I'm gonna be honest. Um, Playing the first part, it was definitely it was definitely like a 6. Yeah, it started off as a 6 for me, but luckily for me, I kind of end up getting more into the story. The more I played, the better it gotten, and that 6 starting to rise up into a 7, and then that 7 to an 8. Now, did it go any higher from an 8? And my answer with that, y'all will know by the end of this video. The gameplay mechanics, I actually did pretty enjoy. Um, I played Odyssey, and a lot of people was comparing this game to Odyssey. And Odyssey is my favorite Assassin's Creed game ever. You know, as of right now, currently, it's still my favorite game ever. And that's beating out the OGs like Black Flag, Assassin's Creed 3, even Ezio's trilogy. I played all of that. That was amazing. But Odyssey just has a different feel to it. I love the abilities you have in Odyssey. Again, the Spartan kick was amazing. And also, I wish they would have brought this back. The bow and arrow where you can track, uh, like you can actually control the arrow. That was fire. I loved using that. Um, that, like I said, Odyssey just hits home for me. Now comparing to with Shadows, since Shadows is just like Odyssey, I see the comparison. I do see the comparison, and honestly, it is kind of like Odyssey, but did it give me that full Odyssey experience? I'm gonna be honest, it didn't really give me as much as the feel of I had in Odyssey than um in Shadows. Was kind of a little bit lackluster, you know. Um, I wish they would have done more with the ability. If I switch to Yasuke right now, okay, but y'all see how my Naui, I only got like 6 skill points. Kind of been maxing out on the katana. Well, half of the katana, but really, the main weapon I use is the Tanto. I love the Tanto. How it has this one ability. This one where like she just started automatically start dodging everything and you can just start attacking them. And then she also got this hidden blade where like if I get them low enough, I can instantly kill and I can really get out of combat and go back to my stealth. So let's say I'm trying to do stealth, I end up messing up or the enemy might be a little bit too strong. Guess what? I can just use this ability, come back right straight to stealth, and we'll have no problems with it. Also, with the assassin abilities, basically got it almost all maxed out. Like I said, I've been putting in work with Naui. But when we go with Yasuke, as you can see, I have 64 skill points. Maybe that's just my playstyle. I don't know. But At that point, I feel like I kind of maxed out my Yasuke build, and I have no point of to upgrade Yasuke. I started off using the Teppo. Teppo was good, it's a strong ass weapon, but I ended up going with the bow because if you really get like a good bow build, you can make Yasuke a stealth character and be strength at the same time. He just won't have that mobility as now he has. Also, like the weapons that I don't use, what I end up doing is taking up all of my skill points and converting it into other skill points, and that's why, like I said, there wasn't really much for me to really put into Yasuke. Maybe y'all Yasuke build is different than mine, but that's just how I feel. Now going with Naui, I just wish she had more stealth ability. Honestly, I kind of like her ability. Like when they go to like Tanto for a minute, her that hidden hand with that Tanto ability, fire. She automatically dodges everything, fire. Also, there's another one that I end up using. If I go, I believe it's into the Shinobi, I can slow down time and kind of like sneak around my way through everybody else. And, I can like go ahead and like assassinate. That's also a pretty fire ability, which I need to keep on upgrading that. Um, but I guess I won't probably see that until DLC. I do plan on playing DLC, by the way. Um, we'll get to the ending of the game and further on through the video. But like I said, so the abilities and shadows to me didn't match the abilities that I fell in love with into Odyssey. Um, the one thing can compare is the kick that you can have a Yasuke. They made the kick so good. Ain't nothing like a good feeling of kicking a nigga off a fucking castle, bro. I love that. I love that for me. Abilities, like I said, it was a little bit lackluster for me. Story was kind of okay, right? But kind of like the more I started playing into the game, I started noticing some key features, and I was like, hold on, this story is actually kind of cooking a little bit. Let me try to get it more immersed and play through it more. And at the end, I end up falling in love with the story, mainly Naui's story. Um, I love I love how her story and how her background definitely fits her character. Right now, she's kind of in the moment of trying to figure out what this blade on her wrist actually means and what's the true story behind it. But it seems like we won't get that until they drop a DLC for her. Yasuke, Yasuke was cool because it also introduced the Templars again. Honestly, I fell in love with Naui's story more than Yasuke, maybe because Naui's a stealth character and I do love stealth, or it's just the way how they built Naui's character. Um, also be hearing complaints about Yasuke should never even been in the game. If it was just Naui, the game would have been completely fine. And I'm gonna be honest, I think I kind of agree with that. Because I believe most of these missions, I kind of was using Naui. Naui was kind of the better option out of Yasuke. But sometimes I did want to use brute force. I'm glad I was able to have that choice of choosing Yasuke. And then also, Yasuke got his own set of missions where you have to be just Yasuke. So that was the thing. But honestly, I feel like they could have still added Yasuke, but have him be like an ally or a companion where you can like call upon, or like he'll probably like help you out on some mission. Either way, I still love Yasuke. I'm just saying, like, he would have been like a good ally to Naui. That's how Naui's like kind of a weak. You could have called on Yasuke to be like your brute force, etc., etc. But so to the people that said that in regards, I do see their point, and you know what? I am not mad at it. But that's just how I feel. People been kind of shitting on the music choice that Ubisoft has made. Some might even throw out it's kind of racist because Yasuke being a black character, somehow they added black hip hop into the music when it comes to Yasuke. And honestly, maybe they're right. Cause I was kind of fucking with the music. I like the little mixture tone. It was kind of like Japan and hip hop kind of converged. But maybe that's just me. I'm pretty sure I'm like the only one that probably might fuck with the music. Um, and if I hear it on the radio, I'll listen to it. I'll complain about how Nowie's voice actor sounded like AI. And to be honest, I know what they're talking about. I know what they're saying. But to me, her voice acting never knocked me out of my immersion. Honestly, I just kind of throw it off as, maybe English wasn't her first language. Maybe she did the Portuguese and English of her own character instead of, Ubisoft getting like two different people to dub the character. So I was like, maybe she, or maybe her English wasn't her first language. And then if it was two characters, I mean, like I said, still, the voice acting of Naui did not knock me out of my immersion. So when I played Valhalla, that was the last Assassin's Creed I played. I skipped over Mirage, but I heard in Mirage they were kind of bringing the classic stealth aspect into Assassin's Creed. They brought it back, and now they brought the same thing into Shadows. Literally every mission I played, I try to do stealth. Um, and I was happy about that. It kind of did brought the classic stealth that I, fell in love with when I first played Assassin's Creed. Maybe it's not exactly how it was, but bring it back. So I'm kind of happy about that. Kind of talk about the fits. Now, this outfit that you see here, this nice crispy crimson black, got the little Japanese aspect to it. You don't get this until like you beat the whole game. And honestly, this outfit is fire as fuck, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie. The outfits was kind of clean when it came to these characters. And then also, I'll end up getting the classic Assassin's Creed, the Ezio's outfit with the Japanese tradition towards it. That was also was pretty fire. You had to like go somewhere and find it in the cave, yada yada. But as I'm going down, like these headgear pieces are actually not bad. They're actually crispy and clean. I don't think and then if you really know how to customize your character, you can probably make some unexpected combos, if I'm gonna be honest with you. And then not only for Naui, but Yasuke fit is kind of clean too. You see, he got the Templar on his chest. You get that from killing like a certain Templar. But even his fit was kind of clean. So when it comes to like the cosmetic aspect, it was actually pretty good. So Ubisoft did a really good job. A really good job. The combat. The combat system was actually not hard to learn, so that's a W. But also, there was a little bit skill towards the combat. Like, and then also, there's two different characters. So with Yasuke, him being a big brute force, you can kind of bulldoze all of the other enemies. If you, Yasuke has an ability where if you hit somebody, like you don't even got to kill him, you gotta get a hit in. He gains health back. So basically, if you know how to really use Yasuke, you can't die. And even if they block and you're using Yasuke, you can easily break their guard. While you play as Naui, he's a weak character, and if they block, that block is going to affect how you play. So you kind of have to, try to avoid conflict as much as possible, and literally try to like sneak around them or whatever. But playing as, but even me playing as Naui, I kind of was getting a hold on the combat, and the more I upgraded her, she kind of got even better as a fighter. with as Yasuke, I mean, since he's just so brute force, it kind of stayed the same. Um, there was a weapon that I do love, the Kanabo. That weapon, I swear, it was a one-shot weapon. I would swing at somebody, and he immediately would die. I'm like, okay. And even with the bigger enemies, it took like 2, 3 hits. So really, like Yasuke's katana was kind of the weak one for me. But when it comes to the Kanabo, the big bat, that weapon is actually pretty fire. Um, but still, if we're going off by weapons, um, I didn't really use a lot of weapons. You know, I tested them out, get the feel of it, but after I kind of figure out what my playstyle was going to be, I kind of stick to that same weapon. And I did that the same for Naui and Yasuke. Um, for Naui, she only got like 3 weapons, and Yasuke got like 5, so he actually got a variety. So I wish, now think about it, I wish Naui would have more variety of weapons. Maybe that would change up my playstyle depending on what type of abilities they had. Um, so lack of variety for Naui was kind of, you know, was an issue for me because I was basically just stuck with the same 3 weapons. Even though I do love the Tanto, I just wish, you know, she just had more. Is one, I like how big the map is. The pacing and shadows was amazing. All right, coming from Assassin's Creed Valhalla, it was good to me, but also with Valhalla, it did get repetitive, and then you have to put like 150 hours just to beat the game. I ended up giving up. But with Shadows, it literally takes about what I would say like 40 to 50, probably like 45 to 50 hours for the main game. And then if you want to do all the side content, it probably would have gave you like an extra, maybe like maybe another 20 to 30 hours. I'm not sure, but I end up beating the game at like 60 something hours. And that's also, I did side content as well, and obviously the main story. But I kind of like the pacing. It was nice, decent. Um, at times it did get overwhelming when I had to like how I had to like attack my targets. Like let's say if I want to assassinate this guy, I had to do like 3 little mini quests. Sometimes there might be 5, depending on who the character you're going after, just to get just to finally get to my assassination target. And like I said, at times it was overwhelming, but you know, I still didn't really mind it as much because I mean it makes sense. Basically, it's like you're a recon mission. You got to get as much info as you can so you know who your main target is, and then when you go to your main target, boom, you're good. So it really, like, each character kind of took like a whole little over an hour plus to complete, and that's combining the 3 little missions, and then you know you assassinating your target. So, and last thing I'm gonna mention is honestly, the graphics are truly amazing. Now, when you watch my gameplay, you might not think the graphic isn't truly amazing because I think my HDR sucked. Like whatever settings I had on my HDR was ass, or maybe you know Ubisoft. That's on the Ubisoft end where I couldn't get like the pitch perfect HDR. But at moments my game will be too bright, and then I have moments where my game is too dark. So that might be on me. I'm new to HDR, so I still need to get used to it. But other than that, when I did find the right moment, the right setting, the graphics of the game was truly amazing. And you know, shout out to Ubisoft for whoever did the art, the background, the world building. You know, this kind of made me did feel like I was really in Japan. And, you know, I know games out there is comparing you to Ghost of Tsushima. Honestly, you should not get compared to that. you know, yes, basically the same type of concept, but still two different games. Um, but yeah, either way, like I said, I still love the graphics. But with that being said, it's time for me to give out my final rating, ladies and gentlemen, of Assassin's Creed Shadows. At the beginning of this video, I said when I first played it, this game was already feeling like a 6. But then, the more I played it, that 6 gradually turned into a 7. And then you get deeper into the game, which means you get deeper into the story. It ended up becoming an 8. And then I beat the game and I see what the full blown how the story is and what it's going to lead up to when the DLCs arrive. This game, I'll finalize it at 8 out of 10. YNG 8 out of 10. Yes. Um I didn't see the potential of it coming to a 9, and it wasn't decreasing into a 7. I feel like an 8 is a good rating for the game. Um like I said, the everything I discussed, that's just how I feel. It's my opinion, it's my review. But like I said, this is actually a good game. And the reason why it's getting so much flat is because, despite this being a good game, I know Ubisoft still went with troubles and Assassin's Creed Shadows probably didn't hit the mark that they wanted to, which is unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that about Ubisoft, which led them to get acquired. Well, not fully acquired, but I know about Tencent, how they they now invested into Ubisoft. They like invested like 25%, and now they're making a smaller uh sub servant company within Ubisoft that will focus on Assassin's Creed, and like the Rainbow Six Siege and all that. But I don't know how is that actually going to be a good thing for Ubisoft or a bad thing. Like within the company, I guess we'll see when the games come out. But I did hear they're gonna, now they can focus on Ghost Recon, and Ghost Recon is another Ubisoft game that I love. So I can't wait to play that. Um, anyways, Young Squad, I hope you liked the video. I hope you liked my review of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Um, I know people also complaining about how you can have quote unquote gay romances. That's honestly that's all a choice, all right? And to fix that, if you don't want to have romance with anybody, guess what? I'm gonna show you. You press start, you go to systems, go right here to options. I think maybe it's at the beginning of the game, but you will get a choice where you want canon mode or non-canon mode. Canon mode will be it'll be strictly story. You get no choice in the matter. It's strictly canon, basically exactly how history wrote in Japan. Or you do non-canon mode where you make your own choices, and that's exactly what I did. I made my own choices of the game. So that's how you fix that. So, but anyways, Young Squad, like I said, that's it for today's video. Hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. Young D is out of here.